Okay, then we'll move to Judy's report.
Everyone has their sheet because I did not take it to Bob or Sheila to have it scanned into the computer. I apologize. Next year, if you still want me as a delegate.
Well, I'll scan it in and drop it into your Neptune tomorrow, so it's a permanent document you'll have for future reference.
Good.
Yep. It was an interesting session. The first 9 resolutions moved through very quickly, and you can see we had said yes to those first 9, and that was the way everyone voted. There was very little discussion with those first 9. Resolution 10-8, cast forward costing, there was just a little bit of discussion during that one. They were wondering if it included lane movement, and they asked the committee, and they didn't give a clear enough answer, I think, for some people. But it did still pass. And then after we got through the first 9 resolutions, then it started to slow way down. There was a lot of discussion on the next few. The health care insurance contributions and the Wisconsin Retirement Systems contributions, both of those, they felt that that needed to be kept at a local level control. So there was a lot of discussion about that. The Resolution 1010, you can see that they tried to amend it to change it to contribute at least 5% of their health care insurance premiums. And neither of those passed. They turned both of those down. Then we got to Resolution 1012, the licensure of the charter school teachers. There was a lot of discussion on that, especially the language where it said demonstrated competency in the subject matter taught. And they went back and forth about what that meant, and some felt that it should be across the board, it should be for public schools too, that it was making an exception for the charter schools. So there were quite a few delegates that got up and spoke to that issue, and it was voted down because of that. Resolution 1013, keeping the elections in the spring, that passed, and that was, we had voted yes for that also. The last resolution, 1014, arts and creativity education, there was a long discussion on that. There were 2 amendments to it, and everything got voted down. It was, some felt that it would be an unfunded mandate. There was a lot of time talking about defining what creativity education was, what they were actually speaking to. Many delegates got up and they were bantering that back and forth, and one that wrote the first amendment adjustment to it was, she was a retired English teacher, and so they were very specific about the verbiage. There was a lot of discussion. So in the end, it all got voted down, and they suggested that the resolution committee clarify their intentions on that and hopefully bring something back next year on that one. Then after we finished those 14 resolutions, voting on those, we had 3 that were brought forward that had not been put on the docket and for consideration. The additional sales tax to help fund schooling, that was voted down to not consider that. The categorical aid for gifted and talented programs, that was voted down. And then the WIAA brought in an emergency resolution for the football proposal. And that was not allowed. That was voted down, and they were told that they missed the required deadlines for that. And the person trying to present that was not very happy. It was interesting. The way it was going in the beginning, I thought we were going to be out there in a half hour, but it was about an hour and a half. But it was a very good session, interesting discussions. So thank you for allowing me to be your delegate again.
Well, thank you
for 2010.
For doing that, Judy. We really appreciate it. We know you do a wonderful job, and thank Joan, too, again, for all of her time and effort she's put in coming up with all those resolutions and being on that committee.
Yeah, I
so.
think Joan, put a lot more time into being on the committee. That's a much bigger time commitment.
Yes.
It
And
is.
that position is open.
Oh.
2 years in a row.
So you are done.
I am finished.
That's great.
Great news, Jerry says, so there you go.
Just acknowledging
Two
it's
short
great.
weekends, once in November and once in January, and then once in September, so.
Okay. Keep it in mind, huh?
Yes.
Okay.